Hello everyone, good day. So today's session is introduction or basics of clinical data management. Okay, so before we start, clinical data management is one profile within clinical research. Okay, so clinical research is study of drugs, and the data management profile will help the management of collected data. Okay, so let's start with the session. Objectives of the session are to explore definition, what is the regulatory environment, source data, electronic versus paper data, data archiving at site, key stakeholders, okay, key factors. And yeah, there is misconception that data management is equal to data entry. No. The fact is, data entry is only one small component of data management. So, data entry is just collection of data, but further process of data management is way too much to understand. Okay. So, in today's sessions, I will just take you to the brief of what is data management, especially clinical data management. Okay. So, now clinical and data management. So, management of data. The data is clinical data. Okay. So now let's start with the definition of data. What is data? Data with reference to CDM means the patient information which is collected during clinical trial, and data is collected to establish whether the objective of clinical trial is met. So this is the reason why we collect data in clinical research, because we want to prove that our experiment or our research is supported with evidence, and the evidence is provided by data. Next is clinical data management. So definition, it is a process of managing data from raw stage. So now how the data is getting collected is from CRF data to finished product. The finished product here, it will be clinical study report in presentable manner, right? The objectives of clinical data management are: the collected data is complete and accurate so that the results are correct. The trial database is complete and accurate and a true representation of what took place in the trial. The trial database is sufficiently clean to support the statistical analysis and its subsequent presentation and interpretation. Now, clinical data management, here you can see that uh, the clinical data management is not only one team, okay? The data management team will have to work together with other stakeholders to provide clinical study report. So as you can see, this is a puzzle where everyone is involved. So the clinical data will have coding data, physical examination data, subject diary data, lab data. So lab data will, or you can also say that third party data. Okay. Now drug accountability data, PK, PD. PK is pharmacokinetics, PD is pharmacodynamics, PGX is pharmacogenomics data, safety data, etc. When put together, the programming and analysis will happen of the data, and then the clinical study report will get generated. Fine. So capturing data, processing the data, analyzing data, and at the end, the creating reports is the final stage. Okay. Now CDM scope and importance. The scope of CDM is, main scope of CDM is to collect, validate, and analyze the clinical data. Design and development of data collection instruments such as paper CRF, electronic CRF, and clinical database, etc. Design and development of tools for validation such as edit checks, user acceptance testing, etc. Design and development of tools for analyzing data such as derived dataset requirement or specification. And the importance is to provide consistent, accurate, and valid clinical data as per sponsor requirements and also adhering to regulatory environment. Okay, so nowadays use of paper CRF is very much minimalized, but we are still, for some of the studies, we are still using paper CRFs. Majorly, we are using electronic CRFs. In addition to electronic CRF, we also have e-diary data. That is, the source documents are maintained via e-diary. We have device data also, that is also part of e-diary. Then patient reported outcomes data, like PRO data, that is also uh, a data collection tool. As a data collection tool, we also have um, uh, data collection tool. We also have a lot of other data that is coming from site. Uh, Also, now we have a lot of devices available, smart devices, smartwatch data can again be considered as source data or patient reported outcome data. So, so all these data, it is not feasible to review and analyze the raw data. So the raw data has to be converted into a analyzable data. Okay, so cleaning of data is important before we analyze this data. So design and development of tools for validation. So this data needs to be validated before it is getting analyzed. So validation is not manually. So validation of data will be done via edit checks. Then your listings will be created, reports will be created to review, analyze data, validate data. Again, whichever validation tools we have, we will have to have user acceptance testing of that data or tools. Hmm? And then design and development of tools. So again, there will be separate uh, activity to analyze the data. Okay. Yeah. So this is the data management flow chart. This is very high level. Okay. So let's start. So protocol is, so the sponsor will give the protocol, hmm? And then the protocol will be reviewed, analyzed by data managers, and then there will be CRF design based on protocol. Based on CRF design, there will be database design. Okay, so this database will be electronic database in this case. QC of that database will happen. Hmm? And at the same time, with the CRF designing, we will also have CRF completion guideline in place. We will also have data management plan. Hmm? And then QC of database will happen. The database will be activated. Okay. So at the same time here, okay, we will also identify vendors involved in the clinical trial, that particular clinical trial. So there will be one more flowchart where third party data will be, how the third party data is getting handled. That will be also discussed with the study team. Third party agreements will happen. There will be separate specifications, guideline, etc. will be in place. After the database is activated, there will be data entry and data loading. So this data entry in previous scenario, we had data entry by, um, so when there were paper CRFs, data entry was done by data managers, but now the data entry task is with CRCs. Okay, so CRC or site will perform the data entry into database. So database here I will say is EDC, electronic data capture. Now, there will be more medical coding happening on the data entry. Then there will be data review and serious adverse event reconciliation, or that will also happen. Okay. So after this, there will be data clarification form to investigator. So this is as per paper CRF where DCF was sent to investigator, but nowadays queries will be sent to investigator. Data will get updated, quality control or peer review will happen, clean the clean file lock, that is cleaning of database and then lock. Then this is quality assurance will happen, database log, it will go to statistical analysis, the data will go to statistical analysis in the form of data sets, sorry, and then the medical writing will happen and it will go for submission. So this is very basic understanding overall uh, data management flowchart. I will keep the sharing of screen for next 2-3 minutes to understand this. Okay. Okay. So the next is data management phases. It starts with study startup or setup, the study conduct, the study closeout. Okay. The study startup is the protocol. With the protocol, there will be study design, the database design, database activation. Study conduct phase is data entry or data loading, then medical coding, data review, SA reconciliation. DCF to investigator is queries sent to investigator or site, then database updated. Study closeout is database QC or peer review, clean file lock, quality analysis, and then database lock. Okay. So DM communication, data manager is the person who will talk to all possible stakeholders. Okay. So it starts the starting discussion or starting point for the communication is always a study team or client. There will be data acquisition team who will perform the acquisition of third party data. Then safety team, coder, programming, site or investigator team. So, and the monitor team. So here the study team or client, the discussion will happen on um, how to plan the data management activities, what data will be collected, what is the protocol requirement. All these information will be exchanged with study team. During conduct phase, it will be ongoing discussion on the current data which is collected. If there are any issues to discuss on, if there is any guidance required, then the discussion will happen with study team or client. Also, there will be study discussion on how to plan the timelines for the study. With the data acquisition team, as I have mentioned earlier, the discussion will happen around data, third party data, how it gets collected, okay, how it will be collected, how it will be planned. Okay, the next is safety first, that is safety data. Okay, so the safety data will be by the safety team. Here, the safety team will be pharmacovigilance team who will also get the notification of serious adverse events, and the data will be managed at safety team. The next is coders. Coders is coding team. Coding team will get the data from uh, CRF. Okay, so the coding will happen by coding team. Then the programmers. So programmers will help data manager to set up CRF. There will be clinical programmers, database programmers, okay, SAS programmers, so various programmers, reports programmers will be also there. So programmers will help in all stages of data management. So data managers have to be very well in discussion with um, programmers, okay. So programmers will help in designing setting up database from the design which is provided. Okay, so they will also help in creating edit checks. They will also help in any post-production changes, providing analysis. They will programmers will also help in analyzing the creation of different reports, creation of SAS listings, etc. The site and investigator, day in and day out, data managers will send queries to investigator or site staff via discrepancy management. Okay, the site and investigator majorly will communicate with data managers via discrepancy management. The monitor or CRA will be the first point of contact for data managers if the queries are not getting resolved from the site's end. Even for sites to connect with data managers after discrepancy management, it is the CRA or monitors who will support. Okay. The next is data capture. Regardless of whether you are running a small single phase 1 trial or many complex phase 3 trials, you look for ways to ensure that your organization is collecting data reliably, efficiently, in compliance with industry and governor relations. Okay. Next, the data capture will be paper data capture, remote data capture, or electronic data capture. Now, let's see who collects the data. It's the investigators, nurses, research team, subject's family, subject's own physician will collect data. Okay, so subjects and subject family. So investigator, they will mostly be the stakeholder who will be responsible to collect data related to serious adverse events or adverse events mostly related to safety part. The nurses and research team will provide the data of daily visit schedules, daily or routine visit schedules. The subject will provide the data of quality of life. Subject's family can provide same the quality of life data. Subject's own physician can provide data of the history or ongoing requirement as expected. Next is types of data collected. It is biographical data, eligibility data, study agent given, concurrent therapy, assessments or tests or exams, adverse events, response according to protocol. Fine. So this is what the type of data. So tools which are used by data manager. Tools which are used by data manager are case report form, common data elements, electronic data capture, e-source, and audits. Now, definition of EDC. So here case report form is, we will have a separate session on how to design a case report form, what is case report form, etc. Common data elements, those are the elements which are commonly collected from a CRF. Then electronic data capture, we will see in short today. E-source is source documents. Then audits, a very important part in data management. Now, definition of EDC. What is EDC? EDC is like electronic data capture. What does this mean to you? EDC is defined as electronic capture of trial data, including electronic patient notes, IVR system, ECRFs, patient diaries, centralized lab reporting, etc., etc. Okay. Sometimes it is referred as remote data capture. So, in case of paper-based trial, investigator used to uh, provide data on CRFs. CRA used to run to give the CRF to investigator and also ship it to data management. Then the CRF has to be data entered in database, and then it would go to data managers. Okay, so this was a long process, and there used to be queries to investigator to CRA. There was a lot of to and fro discussions, and the project manager was also using paper records to manage the data, and this was very much tiring. It has a lot of issues with respect to time. The data was not available real time. Patient recruitment trends, there was delay in identifying. Query resolution, it used to take a lot of time to resolve a simple query. Then the database log was really difficult with such issues involved. The quality data validation was not again real time. The patient eligibility scrutiny was difficult. Handwriting and transcription errors were very much. Then the cost of data management was higher because of data input, document printing, distribution, CR travel, the logistics of CRF data. Hmm. Then at site there used to be a lot of time to capture CRFs. A complete CRF, there was time taken for query resolution. Quantity of study related paper was it used to take a lot of time. Then quantity of study related paper, review of data with CRA used to take time. The quality of data, that is delayed data validation, clarity of patient eligibility, inconsistencies of handwriting, transcription, cost. There was cost for photocopying, staff resources, archiving facilities. Now, okay, do you think, like, with respect to this? Yeah. So let's see in detail. Capturing the data in paper record is tedious and time consuming. The error in paper records cannot be readily traced. Thus, data cleaning takes long time. The data in paper records are not always complete accurate because no automatic query is generated in case of CRF is not completely filled. The data retrieval from paper records takes long time. Data analysis and interpretation takes long time. In paper-based trials, when CRA visits a clinical study site, it is the first time she or he sees the data. As a result, much of the interaction of CRA and study coordinator involves resolution of missing data, out of range data, careless transcription errors, not protocol compliance issue. And the compliance issues like uh, were not getting much time, right? So, which is actually very important when there's a review of data. Next was storage of paper records was inconvenient. Capital cost of paper records is high because of quality of paper, printing, storage, retrieval systems. Capturing data in paper and subsequent data cleaning require a lot of staff resources, which increases the cost. Strict storage conditions were required to combat the environmental factors, with further increase to cost. Reprinting the CRFs and overnight shipping of CRFs in case of any mid-study amendment increase the cost drastically and also delay the entire process. Now, why we had electronic data capture and how it is reducing our time. So here the data manager, project manager, CRA, investigator, everyone will work using computers, web-based systems. Okay, so everyone will have real-time access to data. So benefits, time, instant data availability, rapid trends reporting, quicker query resolution, faster database lock. So now the database can be locked within 30 days, okay, from the final notification. So it is really uh, time saving, and overall this helps in saving the time of drug coming to market, right? Next is quality, online data and patient validation, no handwriting or transcription problem. Protocol is updated online. Now cost, no repeat data input, no document printing and distribution, less CRA travel. EDC trial, benefits for sites. So time, quicker query resolution. Sites can get real-time help, faster database lock, quality, online data and patient validation, no handwriting or transcription problems. Protocol is updated on time. Cost, reduced paperwork, less review time with CRA. Okay. So can you think of any more benefits? Okay, so the next is industry. Resistance to change, avoidance, indecision, fear, reality. So all these were the challenges when there was move from paper to EDC. But as everyone know now, EDC is huge blessing to everyone in this industry. Now there are a lot of advancements even in the EDC trials, and the same challenges are faced by each member now also. So this field gets evolved as and when there are advancements in artificial intelligence or data science, etc. Okay, so who does EDC affect? Trial site. So you can see everyone has effect on electronic data capture. So IT supplies is the main thing which is required for EDC trials. Needs upfront planning, connectivity has to be very strong. Firewall problems should not be there. Security issues are the topmost to be taken care of. Then location of connectivity points, wireless technology security. Now, investigator sites, it requires training initially, but then everyone gets used to it. More timely queries will be sent to investigators, decreased queries, reduced archiving, principal investigator role, what is it? Change skill set for site staff, then project manager, data visibility, clinically monitoring staff, decreased query, change workflow. Okay, the data management, the very good thing will be no data entry responsibility for data managers. Then drug safety or pharmacovigilance, automatic SAE notification will be sent. IT or application support, modified training needs for all the staff. Then regulatory environment, very important is 21 CFR Part 11. It governs the electronic records and signature. It is equivalent to handwritten signatures. It is linked to the relevant enter data, linked to an identified individual. So it has a specific username and password. Then audit trail, who written, like who has updated or who has created the record, what was the record created, and then when it was created. So the audit trail is also important in clinical research, which is easily uh, seen via EDC. And then the 21 CFR Part 11 governs these uh, data. Okay. Then the data security and integrity issues with EDC. So first is confidentiality. In multi-site clinical trial, the information of the subjects of one site may be viewed by the staff of another site, but with the confidentiality, we are making it restricted only at one site. Subjects information by which they can be recognized may be viewed by all the departments, which actually should not happen. Okay, so subjects information nowadays is very limited, and it is very limitedly collected. The information being online, a hostile party can hack the data and breach the confidentiality. Yeah, this is the security breach. Even now, we are fear of a hostile party can install viruses which can secretly snoop upon the confidential information and activity. Yeah, this is again a challenge, but with the advancements, we have to be careful of. Now, data security and integrity issues with EDC. Authenticity. An unauthorized person can change or tamper the data, which may not be identified as an original data, may not be available. A hostile party can soft destroy the site. Viruses could be installed that could function as man in the middle attacks, that could manipulate, corrupt, or otherwise attack the data stream between the client and the server. The signer may repudiate after signing the records, which may take the record invalid. Computer system itself may make some mistakes and while receiving the data or may change the data. The devices may change the data by mistake while transmission of the data. Okay. Next issue is the availability. The records may be destroyed before the record retention period lasts. The system may not maintain the original records if they are amended. The system may not retrieve the data readily and accurately. The system may not discern the altered records. Okay. So these issues are now being taken care of. Now let's see what is e-source. What are the issues for the industry? So source document should be original data records. Uh, okay, so subject diary, hospital records, etc. are known as source documents. The data reported on the CRF, which are derived from source documents, should be consistent with the source. Now, the e-source data is equal to the source data, which is captured initially into a permanent electronic record. Okay, so now e-source, what are the issues? Issue with the e-source is reluctance to use IT system, no trust in computers. There is infallibility of systems, multiple systems without electronic interface, network access issues for CRA and site staff. The initial implementation cost is high. Now, what should be considered? What data need to be archived, what format and what medium? Okay, so making the EDC work, key points. Process redesign, data management. So overall process got design, site assessments and technical setup. These setup methods and site infrastructure, provision at sites, the additional points got added. Training, timing of investigator meetings, site initiation, method of training is changed. Support, method of access to support, meeting the needs of end user, adequate and appropriate resourcing added. So site assessment successes, site questionnaires via CRAs or technical support, information regarding site IT and telecoms infrastructure, staff IT capabilities, study rollout. Okay. So site infrastructure, key need to lies with the site system administration, where appropriate strong support for the site is required. Strong support for the site through any software downloads, installation is required, site provisions are required, user account setup is required, but all these activities will be one time for one study. Okay. So site staff, EDC training is required. So EDC awareness, presentation at investigator meeting. So present the features and benefits. Site specific training is done via self-directed computer-based training. Site-specific materials are available, training with different training modules. Post these meetings, computer-based training, individual face-to-face training can be conducted by CRA, step-by-step screen flow and study-specific orientation is done. So now, because of the advancement, most of the sites are now used to this, but this is the regular process that is being conducted. Okay, the future, the current status is increased confirm web-based technology gives standardized access, fully integrated trial, that is electronic medical records, interactive voice response system, clinical trial management system, electronic data capture system, electronic external data sources, SAE reporting, electronic regulatory submission software. Now the data review. Why do we need to have a data review? Okay, so the data review to ensure complex medical data are reviewed and assessed to detect any discrepancy in the data. Discrepancy examples. Okay, so these are the discrepancy examples. Okay, so just go through it and we will discuss it in detail in short while. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so discrepancy examples are empty fields, incorrect, incorrect range, one value is greater or less than or equal to another, dates are not in logical sequence, there is inconsistent header information, any missing visit or pages, widgets is not in compliance with the protocol, the inclusion or exclusion criteria are not met. So these are discrepancy examples. Now data review or edit checks. So what is data review and what is edit checks? So data review, the data review of the data which is entered in ECRF is reviewed via edit checks. Okay. Manual review is not always possible. Hence, we have this designed edit checks. Now, it consists of computer checks on the data to assure the validity and accuracy of data. It will validate data manually against predetermined specifications. Primarily, it is used to check the efficacy of data unique to current study. right? So there are range checks to identify inaccurate or invalid data and statistical outliers to ensure that data outside of permitted range are to be clarified and verified. F- So here the range check, I will give one example of systolic blood pressure. So for each study, depending on the phase, depending upon the therapeutic area, there will be range specified in the protocol or during the discussion of protocol. So systolic blood pressure, the range will be provided. So systolic blood pressure is outside the critical range. Okay, so this is very simple range check example. Then you will have consistency checks here to highlight the area where the data in the database are inconsistent. For example, adverse event stop date is always after AE state start date. So this is how we will check the consistency. Now, presence checks to ensure that completeness of data or missing data is not really missing in the database. It has to be recorded. Okay. Now, data coding and medical coding, it is also part of data management. Now, it is a process which involves grouping or classifying new and amended terms like medications, adverse event, medical history, medical procedures, diagnostic disease conditions with reference to known standard terms. Now, importance of coding, the use of medical coding dictionaries for medical term data such as adverse event, medical history, medications, and treatment procedures are valuable from the standpoint of minimizing variability in the way data are reported and analyzed. To provide control and consistency, a variety of medical coding dictionaries may be used to process, analyze, and report collected data. Now, coding dictionaries which are used are Medra, WHO, ICD, FDA, COSTRAT. Okay. So Medra is used for medical dictionary for regulatory activities. It is standardized dictionary for medical terminologies. WHO is for drugs, World Health Organization for adverse reaction terminologies. ICD is International Classification of Diseases. Now, very important is safety data reconciliation. So, what is serious adverse event and why do we perform the reconciliation? Okay. So, serious adverse event is any adverse event that results in death. It is life-threatening, requires inpatient hospitalization or prolongation of existing hospitalization. It results in persistent or significant disability or incapacity, or it is a congenital anomaly or birth defect. So, reason for performing reconciliation is it is necessary because SAE data is considered as critical data in both the safety and project database. Critical data is made up of dosing, demography, adverse event, and final subject summary pages of all, all of which are data points that make up the case that are reported to the safety database. It is essential to understand that these are submitted to regulatory agency both at end of study and for subsequent aggregate reporting, which occurs well after database lock. So this is the reason for performing reconciliation. PSUR, okay, so PSUR is periodic safety update report. So these are also created using the data which is collected via CRF and from safety team. So any unexpected SAE occurring during a clinical trial should be communicated promptly by the sponsor to the licensing authority and to the other investigators participating in the study. So PSUR is subsequent to approval of product. New drugs should be closely monitored for their clinical safety once they are marketed. The applicants shall furnish periodic safety reports in order to report all the relevant new information from appropriate sources. It should relate these data to patient exposure, summarize the market authorization status in different countries and any significant variations related to safety, and also indicate whether changes should be made to product information in order to optimize the use of the product. Okay, so in further sessions, we will discuss the clinical data management in detail. Okay, so how do we design and develop the data collection instrument? what is edit check design principle. So all these are basic things. Okay, so there will be advancements every year or every now and then, but these will remain as basics. Okay, CRF completion guidelines, CRF printing, database validation, programming, laboratory data handling, external data transfer, what is patient reported outcome, that is PRO, CDM presentation in investigator meeting, how do we present, the training required, metrics, how do we create metrics, how it affects the overall study status, assuring data quality, how do we measure quality, then storage of data, the collected data is huge, how do we store it, data entry process, medical coding, dictionary management, safety data management, serious adverse event reconciliation, and then we will also discuss about database closure and data archiving. Okay, so quality control is very important in data management. It is performed at various stages of clinical trial. So system validation will be done by clinical IT team, then SDV, source data verification by CRA, CRF review by data managers, double data entry in case of paper CRF, that is again by data managers, data coding and data review, that is by data managers, edit checks are with data management team and also programming team. They will together create edit checks, but the review of edit checks will be with data managers and clinical team, then CRF to database inspection. Okay, so this will be again important. The quality of overall data is increased because the sooner a data capture problem is detected and corrected, the higher the quality of final data. Okay, now the audits in CDM, we will have multiple audits conducted in CDM. So internal audit, it is carried out by service providers audit department to ensure implementing, maintaining and improvement of systems which is audited. Then customer audit, it is the second party audit. It is carried out by client to evaluate the service provider's performance and compliance for standards. External audit, it is third party audit. It is carried out by regulators or external auditors which are who are contracted by sponsor to ensure implementing and documenting recording standards. Okay. Now, audit in CDM, the CDM auditor should be trained in auditing methodology. He or she should be familiar with CDM process. They should be experienced enough to assess compliance to CDM procedure. They should be well versed with computer fundamentals, aware of the industry regulations. The to be CDM auditor, one requires knowledge of computer fundamentals, knowledge of medical terminologies, knowledge of current industry trends to give constructive feedback to CDM. Now, documents which get audited in data management are protocol, case report form, source documents, clinical database, data clarification form, or you can say query report in case of EDC, site or manual data clarification forms, data management plan, statistical analysis plan. Okay, so who all support as we discussed initially? So programmers, they will extract data and map the same into specific formats as specified by the sponsor to aid statistical analysis. Statisticians will use the program reports and listing and analyze the data as per pre-approved statistical plan. Medical writers will generate clinical study report using the statistical analysis and other study documents, thus summarizing the overall finding and conclusion of clinical trial. The CSR is used for submission to regulatory authority. And I hope all of you must have got the gist of what is data management, right? And thank you so much. Next sessions, we will meet to conduct, to know the further advancements. Okay. Thank you so much.